use. So future land use is a map designation that indicates the general use or vision for a property. These designations regulate the type of uses or development that are allowed on a property and identify the density, number of units per acre for residential development, or intensity, square footage for non-residential. And we also have a zoning which is being currently changed. So the zoning districts are more descriptive planning classifications but must be consistent with future land use map designations. Zoning categories contain specific code language that regulates allowed uses, building size, setbacks, and parking requirements. So this is a request was going to Planning and Zoning Commission. Currently, the property is zoned A2, Farmland Rural District, and also has a portion of planned development. And we're trying to rezone to R2. It has some wetlands, but the gross acre is 26.16, and the proposal to allow up to 58 single-family homes. So this is a general location map. As I mentioned before, the future land use map designates the density and allowed uses. So this map states that it's low density residential and it allows 4 units per acre. And the current zoning is A2 and PD. They are not consistent. I mean, A2 not consistent with LDR, but PD is, but we're not doing anything from PD. So that's why we have to rezone. And proposed zoning is R2. So this is the aerial. As you can see, there are plenty of wetland, ponds, and some single-family residential uses. And this property is mostly undeveloped with maybe 1 or 2 homes. And this is
calling it, excuse me a second, you're calling it just wetlands? I noticed that 2 of the ponds are not even on there. I know for a fact one of them's got a spring in it.
okay.
I'm pretty sure the other one does too. It's just whether it isn't as big as the other one, but the picture doesn't even show it for give it justice.
Maybe our aerial map is a little outdated, but let's keep all the questions towards the end and I finish this presentation. So this is a process very important to acknowledge. Today we have in-person community meeting, and this application will proceed to Planning and Zoning Commission, where commissioners will provide a recommendation. This hearing will take place on March 21st, and after that it will follow to Board of County Commissioners for final decision. And we'll let you know the date. You'll receive a second notice when this meeting will take place. And again, Planning and Zoning Commission will be on March 21st at 9 o'clock. You're welcome to come and speak and provide your public comments to Administration Building located 201 South Rosalind Avenue in Orlando. You could also email your district commissioner or any other commissioners, because they ultimately decide whether to approve or deny this application. And this concludes staff presentation. Applicant did not provide a presentation, so he will speak without it.
Good evening. My name is McGregor Love. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, and I'm here to, really a community meeting is about answering your questions. We're not taking a vote tonight, but you're stakeholders in the area, and we're here to hear your questions and concerns. I do want to go over a little bit of what Irina mentioned about future land use and zoning, because if you don't do what we do for a living, you have no reason to know what what future land use is and how it relates to zoning. So a future land use is a requirement of state statute. The state says every county and municipality has to come up with a planning sort of map for the entire, every property in the county. And that map designates properties low density residential, medium density, commercial, industrial, etc. Now, that's the map. So this is the surrounding area. You see, it's all low density residential. Sometimes when I'm going before the Board of County Commissioners, I'm asking for a comprehensive plan amendment application, which would actually take this property and change it from, let's say, low density residential to medium density residential. But that's not what the applicant's requesting. What the applicant's requesting is a rezoning to a consistent zoning district. And that's the state law requirement, that you have to have your designations under the comp plan, and you have to have a list of zoning districts that are consistent with that designation. And R2 is consistent with low density residential. R2 allows minimum lot sizes of 4,500 square feet. And low density residential allows, as Irina mentioned, up to 4 units an acre. The applicant will never be able to put 4 units an acre on this property because there are significant wetlands. And to your question, sir, right now the applicant team has been doing several wetland delineations to actually figure out what the boundaries of those wetlands are. That's a requirement of county code. It's a requirement at the state level. And I'll talk about kind of when those requirements will actually be reflected in the development plan applications. And also I want to mention now, as you can see, that the plan is to do a single family subdivision. But that's not specifically what's requested here as a technical matter. This is just the rezoning phase. But to pull permits on, the site work and the elevations that go into a single family subdivision, you have to have a preliminary subdivision plan approved, which is another sort of Board of County Commissioners process that will go forward. And as part of that preliminary subdivision plan, that's when they will have to answer specifically, okay, where are you going to be putting your access drives? How many units specifically are you able to fit here under our code? Where are the wetlands and how are you mitigating or getting around them? All of those questions come at a later date. And right now the applicant team is providing a concept plan. And the one that you see here is a previous version that I can tell you that it's unlikely that 58 units will be placed on the property, maybe less. 58 I think comes in at around 2.8 units per acre or so. But based on just the practical issues with the wetlands and just the layout of the property, this will change. So I just wanted you to understand, when you're looking at these plans, don't think that what's being approved by the Board of County Commissioners, or if it does receive approval, is going to sort of suddenly be built. Because there's another level, and that's the preliminary subdivision plan approval, where that may change. And you'll also have an opportunity to attend public meetings about that approval as well. That is the general overview of what the request is. I know that you've seen concept plans, and I'm sure that you very reasonably have questions about where we're going to put things, how we're going to accomplish things. I'm happy to answer them, but know that it's all with a caveat that it's not, as opposed to a plan development where I am bringing to you a plan that we're asking the county to approve and that we'll be bound by. This is all subject to change. The only thing that's not subject to change will be what our new entitlements will be, and that's just for R2 zoning. But I am happy to answer questions to the extent that we know the answers at this stage. I'm happy to do it.
Thank you so much. So we'll start the questions, so one at a time. So go ahead.
Yeah, I live on Buck Road, and according to this plat map, you don't define the wetlands, do you?
Well, we will have to do that when we subdivide the property, sir, yes. And we've done what's called a conservation area determination, which is available on the county's website for this property, that sort of delineates wetlands. But as part of the permitting process for the preliminary subdivision plan, that's all has to be worked out exactly. If we're planning on actually doing site work, that's when we need to.
Before we jump next, we have an environmental planning person today, so she can answer your questions about wetland.
So there's about 3 different CADs that were done for 3 different parcels. CADs being the conservation area determination that he was speaking about, and I think totals there's about almost 8.5 acres of wetland along with that, so it's wetland and surface water.
Are you gonna change the wetlands? Will the wetland remain the same?
Yes, there's no plans to change the wetlands, sir. And yeah, there's no current plan to sort of kidnap those wetlands.
Okay, when it's changed to R2, what's gonna happen to my chickens? I got 20 chickens.
It sounds like a philosophical. Where are you, sir?
Pardon me?
Where are you on this map?
Buck Road.
Which way? East, south, east?
Yeah, bring the other map up.
He's right there where that easement road is.
Right here?
Yep, he's right in between there in the middle.
He's
Yes,
right there
sir.
to the right.
Yep, to the right. He's the right house.
Yeah, that's my property right there.
You know, and you look at the concept plan, where do you keep your chickens, sir?
Pardon me?
Where do you keep your chickens?
I got a chicken house.
I don't think that, I certainly hope nothing will happen to your chicken. I don't anticipate there being.
They'll probably never lay again.
I do have a question though.
Yes, sir.
I'm his son-in-law. Now, when it rains heavy, that property damn near floods on the backside of it.
So does
And
mine across
So
right
if you
there,
guys
Cleveland.
build up anything to
Yeah.
build up that property, it floods his out, which
Yes.
it's gonna flood out basically
Everyone
4 or
here.
5
Yeah.
Orange
Yeah.
County has a great track record with that.
Oh,
Yeah, I
they
know.
do.
You have
I
nothing
know.
to worry about.
Yeah, they
Yeah, I
don't
know.
You have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Let's just take
That's what we
example
worried
of
about.
University
Yeah.
Acres
Yes.
at Buck and Rouse Road.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of Rouse
Exemplary.
It was dry as a bean.
Yes.
Thank
Never mind the
you
satellite
for
map
your
that shows
feedback.
that it's a complete
I'm sorry,
swamp.
ma'am.
Thank you for your feedback, I wrote it down.
I'm just curious
No,
because it
no,
does.
I will say,
Yeah, mine too.
I'm not an engineer, there are engineers on the team.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't want to pretend to be an engineer, but I can tell you that being on the sidelines of these conversations, stormwater retention and runoff has been at the top of the design discussion.
Yes, sir.
And it's certainly at the top of the county's mind, I can tell you that. So.
We saw a flood that we hadn't seen in over 3 decades. This last storm, down at the very area he's talking about.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, why did that
They had
happen?
over 6 foot of water easily.
Yeah, why did that happen? What changed?
I can't answer that.
I thought you did a survey on.
Okay, next question, please, go ahead.
So I live on Cleburne, right across from the parcel. What is gonna happen to all of the protected and endangered animals that are in that area?
This area here, sir?
Yes.
Yeah.
To the east of
There is over 300 protected turtles on the 10 acres that have the lake on it. Not to mention we have the endangered frog that lives in that area as well, because all of that connects to the Econ River. Not to mention all the wildlife that comes through there, between hogs, deer, coyotes. We have owls, we have protected owls, we have hawks. What are they gonna do about all of those animals, plus all of the rights that all the property owners on those areas have? Because there's a bunch of properties that have backyard gun ranges. That's gonna eliminate the ability for them to shoot their firearms on their property. As well as this area is already overpopulated. We barely have enough teachers to teach the children that we have in these schools now, and you want to add 58 other homes into that area. What are we going to do for our children's education?
And their future.
And their future.
So the first question, wildlife will be relocated, so we have specific.
Yeah, they're gonna have to follow
No.
the U.S. Fish and Wildlife and Florida Wildlife Conservation Commission guidelines and regulations. So when it comes down to it, they're gonna have to do a wildlife survey, closer to when they're doing.
Yep.
Right, so we'll be asking to see that, when they get closer to the construction date. But they will have to follow all FWC regulations according to the wildlife.
Next question, go ahead.
We're not getting any promises from the gentleman here about the meth chicken, my chicken, what's on the east side of Cleveland, and the meth they made, every subdivision they put in that are on Rouse is what I think caused the flood.
Yeah, me too.
And you guys come in, put 58 houses there, and raise them, like every subdivision does that comes in. Everybody else will get flooded, everybody's gonna say, well, we hope for the best. We didn't mean for that to happen. And then you just forget about it. We're old enough, we'll die off before long. Don't bet on it.
Go ahead.
My name is Kelly Sumrod, and I'm with Save Orange County. We come from the east side, where we fight out there for Lake Pickett, and we're on the Econ River on the east side. And all of the flooding that you're talking about, we're seeing unusual amounts of flooding happening on our side of town. I want to tell you something, sir. The information you gave in the beginning is misleading, because every time when this goes to the P&Z, and that if the board votes in favor of it, it's a stamp of approval. When it goes to the BCC the first time, if it gets a stamp, it's a stamp of approval. When it comes the second time, it gets another stamp. By the time you get to the PSP, the preliminary subdivision plan, these people are screwed. Don't tell them that you got a chance to put input in at all these other stages. Every time there's a stamp, it makes it harder for this community to fight back. Please don't be misleading, because we know better. Thank you.
Good job. It's been there for 100 years this year. That's how long my mom's been there, the Rouse. She's a Rouse. Yep. And my mom says she has never seen it flood like it has because of all the construction. And what safety are you going to bring to my child, bringing all them homes in? You know, we have a piece of nature there. Once this is there, that's all gone. So my son's going to be about all these people that we don't have a clue about. They don't know about us country people that have been there forever. And we're going to be lost, you know, once this takes over. I mean, I feel like we don't have a voice anyway.
No, we don't.
You know, but I'm highly upset because we've been there since we were babies.
Yep.
You know, we were born there.
And that pond right there, I'm right across there, all that woods right there, on playground. Born and raised there. Yeah, yep, right there where that wall's gonna go.
But it's just not even the homes. You're adding basically, let's say you put 58 homes in. That's at minimum 2 cars per house.
Thank you.
At minimum. But then you have children too that are driving age. So then how much traffic are you putting extra on Buck Road? And where are you going to put the entrances for them to come in and out?
Quick question, why this period?
Excuse me?
Why this period?
Why all of a sudden are you
Why?
guys wanting to
Because he can't
rezone?
sell his.
I know,
every property
I want
is
to hear from
entitled.
them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we cannot stop them from
He wants way too
applying.
much money. That's
Okay.
the
Right.
problem.
So
It's
this is
easier
the
to
right
sell
of
to
every
developers
property
than it is to
owner
private
Yes.
individuals.
in Florida.
Okay.
So that's why we bring this application in front of you to get your feedback, but
So
we
is it-
cannot stop.
Is this a vote or
It's
is
not a
it?
vote,
No.
we're gaining your feedback, that will be entered to a staff report. And you also, please call me, email me your public comments, that will be entered to our public, you know, when I present this application, will be entered to a hearing. Okay, so which gentleman was next?
I have a kind of a proactive question. Is there anything we can do to keep this property from being rezoned?
Yes.
See, that's something we could do about it. We need to know what we can do about it, 'cause otherwise
As
we
I
can't.
mentioned earlier, you can come to public hearing on March 21st.
Of course, spring
And
break,
speak
and everybody's at work at 9
and
o'clock.
provide your comment at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
9 o'clock?
This is at 9 o'clock on March 21st.
You know, just, yeah.
Stop work to go to a
Go,
meeting.
yeah.
It's not
I
fair to
understand, or you can
Create a
provide me
petition,
feedback
send
and I will
emails.
answer it into the hearing. Thank you. Next questions, please.
Well, yeah, but no, just let us know, so now we can get on to find out, because this doesn't need to be rezoned.
No.
Rezoning this will make everybody else's property worse.
Yeah.
Okay, we've already got an issue with unprecedented flooding that nobody's tried to figure out, is that gonna happen every time we have a storm now?
Well, yeah. Yes, it
It
is.
happens with heavy rain.
Not to mention the 14-unit townhouses that y'all started, and it's been
On Booker, and it's just sitting there
vacant
vacant.
for four years
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Out of money.
Okay, more questions,
But y'all
please?
approved that.
Yeah.
You'll go next. Go.
Hi, everyone. I can understand your pain. We are fighting on the east side all the time. And when we say you have a voice, you have a voice. Right now in those units, if they make that change, figure 2.9 residents per unit. So if they say they're going to have 58 units, multiply it by 2.9, and sir, yes, they're going to have 2 cars, you're going to have more cars. So all I can say is when you share your concerns tonight, they document them. They document how many are for the project, how many are opposed to the project. They also should ask, if you have environmental concerns, water storage concerns, whatever it may be, you don't have your school capacity report. It's not on file. I couldn't find it. The environmental report mentioned the 8+ acres of wetlands, but it did not mention anything about mitigation. So those are the things that should be on record before the planning and zoning meeting coming up. If you can't make the planning and zoning, and I understand totally, you have to work. You have the right to go ahead and send emails to your commissioner, but that vote, that is important. You're sending it to the planning and zoning commissioners. But you also should cover your own, all the other commissioners and the mayor as well. Whatever you can do to be concise, have different messages regarding the concerns, I would recommend it. But I'd also say, as a reminder, sir, and no disrespect to you, it does matter tonight what happens. And you say these meetings don't really make a difference till later on. I have gone to many meetings, and what happens at planning and zoning, who shows up, how many letters, what the concerns are, then that's carried over to the commissioners in a staff report. The staff report shows why, they had a full house today, and these were the concerns. And then all these commissioners will hear. So if you can make appointments with your commissioner, if you can go, it all makes a difference. Another point is, and you can see my shirt, Save Orange County. We have been fighting and fighting and fighting. You can go to their website and see what we've been doing. And I would recommend the same, because people do hear us. And I'm just saying, it's important to band together. You're like my neighborhood, you don't have an HOA. That's okay. We went knocking on doors and said here. And we had petitions, but that petition, and Kelly was a very big part of it, is it went to everybody. So my question to you on the application, I see that, it says it can have, he's putting in for 58, but up to 80+ homes. So what are you saying per acre on a number of these units?
Up to 80, I think you said up to 58.
On the application, it says up to 80.
I can clarify that, because I believe I understand where that came from, and it is a little bit confusing. I believe that's what's allowed under the existing.
If you change it.
No, under the existing comprehensive plan designation, low-density residential allows up to 4 units an acre. And that's what this property and the surrounding properties are designated as a land use matter. But as a zoning matter, the zoning is A2, which is rural farmland, which would not allow that.
Okay, so A2, according to this, sir, it says it limits residential development, the subject property, to 3 single-family homes.
Right.
So, of course, this application is to change the future land use zoning. So you, as residents, you have a right, and you can vote and be strong on this. If this is not what you want.
Thank you for your comment.
And can I just specify, I didn't mean to suggest that what happens tonight or at any of these meetings is meaningless. I truly did not. All I was trying to say is that the specific project design that you see before you is subject to change. But it matters. It does matter. You contribute.
Maybe that's where the
I have a
information can
question.
come from. Because
Could you clarify if you submitted for school capacity?
We have submitted for school capacity.
Because I didn't receive any
Yes, we just today, but
Today.
yeah.
So maybe I'm ignorant, and I think this will help everybody. When you're presenting the plan, you mentioned that this has been attempted before, right? I'm ignorant about it. So I'm wondering, is it the picture that you have there, is that your design, or is that the one previous?
So I didn't mention that it was done before. I'm not aware of it having.
But I believe somebody has.
So the wetlands that are right there on Cleburne, that is 11.4 acres right there. Only 3 of it is buildable. They tried to build a subdivision where they were gonna put 6 or 7 homes in the area, but we called FWC, they came out and they got super fined because they just went in there and plowed over turtles and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So they
you're
got
following
super
that.
fined, it was denied, and now we're here.
Is that the same picture that you?
No,
It's a brand new
no.
design.
So the
They just
concept.
added 3-4 blocks back
Yeah,
onto
there are a
it,
couple
that's
of
all
blocks.
they did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the concept.
Onto the level.
The concept plan was designed by the project team, but it's since we submitted
different
initially
owners.
with the application, we've done a couple different versions of it that, you know, have reduced the number by a few and have changed the layout. So that's all I meant. Is
Got
that-
it. So this lot right there will be, it gets flooded, the whole lot is flooded all the time, because we in the cul-de-sac there, so basically, just to understand what you're doing there, is that a wall around the property, is a subdivision? Is that
This,
all a wall?
no,
That's
that's
the
just
boundary.
just to be the property.
So are they offering to put a fence or a wall, a
That,
brick wall?
all of that will be determined at the PS.
Okay, so none of that is, all right, thank you.
I have a question.
Hold on, Miss Mel.
Yes, well, I think she's been trying to ask one.
Yeah.
I have it. It's directly, primarily just transportation. In England, when you do a development like this, you have to do an impact on roads and the number of additional cars are expected to run on it. Even if we only go with 58, that's well over 100 extra cars, probably closer to 120. Buck Road is not very big. How is Buck Road going to handle additional 120 on the daily use? And what formal reports there are available for you to see?
A good question, and that will be required of the developer. And it is again at this stage where we start to actually come up with the exact number. And prior, it's a requirement of state statute that prior to what they call a final development order, which would be like a building permit, you have to show that this road, all the surrounding roadways, and your impact on it won't bring it below a certain level of service that's determined in the county's comprehensive plan. And that's
Do you
done.
happen to know what that is?
I don't actually know what the specific level of service is for the surrounding roadways, but I just wanted to let you know. So,
Well, we have a representatives, do you guys have any updates?
Yellow
on-
Services Road.
Today, it doesn't have capacity. The road but doesn't have capacity.
No.
You got a bridge, a dilapidated bridge at the other end y'all can't maintain and take care of. You don't take care of the road. So again, my question, what are you servicing?
There's no way.
How many complaints have been in the motors divisions with the semis parking on the side of Buck Road there? And I can tell you right now, 9 out of 10 of them drive across that bridge. It's a 10-ton limit.
The fire department won't.
And if
Not that flood.
Right.
That floods, yeah.
It's underwater.
Buck Road is close to
All the way.
Oh, yeah.
There's wetlands behind Kennon too, by
So
the
I'm
way.
pretty sure you never answered my question. Why?
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 I don't.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because the person at the end of Cleveland can't sell the land.
Okay,
I know I know the answer. I just want to hear from them.
I got one more question.
Yes, sir.
So everybody in this area is on well water and septic. So when you all decide, if it decides to go through, what's gonna happen with everybody that's there on well water and septic water? Are we gonna be forced to go onto city water?
No, I don't think that would be a requirement. That's a good question,
That's why we
though,
need
and
to
it's
fight
not
the
one that I've
rezone.
come across.
Huh?
That's why we need to fight the rezone.
Right, because if
Right
it gets
there.
rezoned, it's gonna happen.
You're not, that's the problem.
So we will have to connect to wastewater, to utilities. And nobody will be required, if you don't want to connect, you don't require.
Yeah,
We have to provide a pumping station, so it's a whole infrastructure.
But how you protecting the groundwater that's there now these people are on?
They can't.
Spring water.
They can't.
We will stay on the well water. as
Yeah, how you
well.
protecting it?
Yeah, the
From this,
quality of the
from
water.
this.
flooding.
Why do you want such a crappy piece of land? I mean, you know, the amount of money you're gonna have to throw into this thing to make anything out of it.
I just want to mention, so there are 2 sign-in sheets here, and they're full. So in order for everyone to be represented and to make sure that you have an accurate count of who was here, if you have more sign-in sheets, then people who didn't sign in could please sign in before you leave.
Yeah, you can
That
flip
way
it
we'll-
and sign in.
That way we'll know exactly how many people were here.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we leave, I would like specific phone numbers and people that we can call and deadlines by which to get our voice heard. Because to say, call this person, call this commissioner, call that one, we need names and we need phone numbers and we need deadlines.
And we need some way besides the internet to get stuff, for so far like me, don't know how to do the internet.
Yes.
I don't want.
I was actually trying to look at the map, but I wanted to see, you guys never answered where the entrance would actually go for this development.
That was on the site map though.
Yeah, there's a concept plan over there. I don't believe that
So on the board too, we have all the county commissioners.
proposed on Buck Road. I don't think that would ever change.
This is just. Are these mainly rental properties? Are they homeowner properties? And you're gonna make a profit? And that looks yeah, okay, all right.
Did you ever answer, I'm sorry, the size of the parcel?
Right here on Arbor Ridge.
I think, I don't know if everybody heard it because I didn't. What is the planned size per home site? With 58 homes, with a lot of the acreage taken away, with roads and wetlands, what is the size of a lot if I was gonna buy it?
I don't know what the exact size of the proposal is. R2 allows its minimum lot size of 4,500 square feet.
So you don't know the size lot? With this diagram, there's a diagram here with 58.
It's not been determined exactly how big it will be.
Okay, and it doesn't look like there's a park or anything for the family to go to?
I would have to take a look at the most recent concept plan. I don't know if there's any recommendations.
And with, okay.
There's a water.
That's
Hey, just for the record, before we all leave, can we take a vote for the yeas and nays of who is for and against this project? Just so that it's on the record.
I don't want to make that one yay person feel
Let's do this towards the end. More
ostracized.
questions? Go ahead.
At this point, I live in Ain Road, which is east of Claiborne. Been there for 18 years. And this last flood, the water was about 3 properties from mine. I'm afraid if we are not already declared flood zone, we are around the corner to be flood zones. And I visit people in Louisiana, in Denham Street, and they have a pretty bad situation, and I'm afraid that we're gonna see that here if we can stop this thing to go. Because I talked to an old lady that put his entire life in the property and everything, and he told me we are compelled to have flood insurance, which cost me $3,000 a year. I can't afford that, so we're leaving everything behind and moving out of the state. So I don't want to see that to our community. Loss of value of property and then forced to have flood insurance. That's not a real thing for us, the citizens, and the owners of these properties around here.
Thank you for your comment. Anybody else?
Yes, so you said Buck Road has the capacity for additional cars.
Have you been to Buck Road?
Is that accurate to today? Because today's traffic patterns are Buck Road's parking lot at rush hours.
Well, what we do is Orange County lays hoses around the entire county.
We haven't had anything ever.
We've never done that. We've never done that on Buck Road.
Never.
Really, I've been there since '94, so I don't think that's the case.
I saw that on Rouse Road, but not on Buck Road. Buck Road's never been done.
Let's switch back. We ask questions and we have answers. So let's switch back. She's speaking.
Can you please repeat the question, sir?
How many times have you seen that?
He's asking.
So, I was asking, she had said that Buck Road has the capacity for this amount of cars. But I was asking when that study was done that determined that the capacity was there, because I live on Buck Road.
It was done in '64.
Just to understand, because we can burn it here, it just basic on the 58 units.
that is proposed, correct? That was your question?
Road now.
No,
Just
no.
the road. They're saying right now.
Just
Okay,
right now.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Where was the study? That study was, do we know the date?
There is no study. We lay houses on the county.
What? Yes.
roads.
When?
What?
When?
And then write up
Do it all year long.
I've been here for 30
No,
years.
you don't.
No, you don't.
The
No.
community wants to make sure that you provide accurate information, and with all the respect, how many times have that been happening during the year? And when?
Every year we do counts from October until March.
Okay,
There
does
is
this,
850 road segments in Orange County.
totally
I'm
understand,
just
they
listening.
wanna know which
Can I tell you
road.
something, guys? I am as frustrated as all of you about the congestion, and I know how terrible it is to drive in a peak hour. I drove from John Young Parkway, that's where Public Works is, to come here, and it took me almost an hour to be here on time.
That's John Young Parkway, that's not urban area.
I'm just telling
That's
you.
not urban area.
Let's go
I
finish
am
this.
agreeing
Let's go
that.
finish.
She hasn't answered the question, when did they do it on Buck Road?
Yes,
Let's go
She
finish.
hasn't answered.
Listen, I'm not saying any, it's October to March, so I don't know exactly what day that hose was on Buck. But I can find out for you and email you back. Who in here wants that email?
Everybody.
We need one email, so someone needs to email the planning commission with that request, and they will forward it to me, and I will send it.
Somebody's garden.
I will show you.
Yes, yeah, somebody must have out there with it.
This lady had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
We've been here, 46 years. We had horses, okay?
Me too.
Well, they started building up, we did away with the horses, that's okay. But now, as it's built up, it's hard for me to cross the street to my mailbox. And you think we can handle more cars? I don't think so.
But they don't know.
Orange County Sheriff has told me they can't control the traffic on Buck Road. It's Buck Raceway.
Yep.
It's been for 60 years. I've been there over 60 years. They put up a speed sign, and on the weekends, that's the drag
It's the
strip.
drag
Because
strip.
there's
Yeah.
something that'll tell them how fast they're going. And you
Yeah.
guys are gonna
Oh, yeah.
4-lane it. I've already heard you're gonna 4-lane it because you got the bridge over the little econ condemned. So once that goes 4 lanes, once that's rebuilt, it'll be 4 lanes, Buck Road will be 4 lanes. Be no problem handling the
There's
traffic.
already university.
And that's just a matter of time, guys.
Yeah, it is.
They really don't care about us,
No.
the homeowners that live there now,
No, they don't.
because there's much more tax dollars in
It's all
58
about
homes
tax
being
dollars.
put out.
That's
That's
Alright,
all
we
it
have
is.
last
It's about
15 minutes. Let's be more productive. Any more questions?
More productive?
Yeah.
More
We're using
productive.
our space.
Now
to be
you're
productive.
gonna demean the people here asking questions.
Yes.
Awesome.
And they have no.
I have to fill out my comments.
Send her out of the building.
So,
Wow. Unbelievable.
Go ahead.
what kind of, okay, say we want to fight the rezoning. What can we use? I mean, you can go in there and say, I don't like it, and they can just say, okay, anyway. Just because somebody fills out an application for rezoning doesn't mean they're automatically considered okay unless somebody objects, does it? I mean, don't we have to show some kind of due cause, or do you just fill out a form that says, I want to go from 12 to be 24 and it's okay?
So currently, this application is going through review. So our first process is a community meeting. We also have our policies and guidelines we follow, and your feedback is a major role in our decision makers as well.
So there's two measures legally that this project is based on. Can you go back to the process slide? So it's compatibility and consistency with the comprehensive plan. Those are the two measures. So, and I just want to clarify something. When this goes to the Planning and Zoning Commission, this is the bigger one of the two, because when it goes as a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners, it goes on consent, unless it's appealed or the commissioner pulls it for a separate public hearing in front of the board. So when this goes the first time to the board, it's not a public hearing, it's just on consent. Now, if it gets a recommendation of denial, and it goes here on consent as a denial, and it stays on there, then it's denied. So I just want to make you aware of that, and also I just want to make you aware that staff is, on our first initial review of this, is recommending denial. So I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Okay, so at the public hearing, the 21st, is there gonna be a vote? Is
Yes.
there, so there's a vote.
There will be a vote.
Who gets to vote?
The planning and zoning commissioners, there's 9 of them. There is a District 5 representative commissioner, Gordon Spears. So it's important that, and I can send, whoever signed in, we can send you his email, all of the commissioners' emails if you want to email them. But you can email all of these commissioners, the Board of County Commissioners, including, more importantly, Commissioner Emily Bonilla, who appointed Gordon Spears to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I'm sure she would like to meet with him and discuss the concerns that she's hearing with.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that comment you made when you
Yes.
first led off with this?
So,
That you're leaning toward denial?
we are going to.
Can you
likely
restate
recommend
the reasons why? I think that's what he's looking for, is the reasons why you're recommending denial.
Incompatibility with the area. This would allow for 45-foot wide lots, 4,500 square foot lots. On our review in the area, there are no lots that are that small. They're larger, so this would not fit in terms of compatibility with the area.
It would probably end up being rental.
Those are some reasons you can use.
Because it couldn't be connected to the Arbor Ridge subdivision, correct? There's no way that this, here will be connected to the Arbor Ridge, the other side of these lots we're being talking about. Because that has to be clear.
That cul-de-sac at the end of that one street.
Yeah, that's right.
So which and I apologize.
Arbor Ridge Trail. Well, I'm just, we've been hearing a lot of.
Arbor Ridge Trail?
No, let me finish real quick.
It's the very end to
So
the.
we've been hearing a lot of
Right.
concern about the lots and the water and everything else. I'm just trying to make sure that established development of the Arbor Ridge subdivisions would not be connected to this new plan.
Oh, correct, yeah.
There's no road or anything
There's no
going
stub
through.
outs, it's all wetlands right
Yeah,
here.
because the whole water goes, that Arbor Ridge ends up bringing all the water down the street to that big lot right there that was flooded for like 6 months last time.
Yeah,
So
that would, I mean, so the other thing, if this gets approved, there can be conditions of approval that are placed on it to require buffers, to require, the access comes from here and not here. So, staff's job when we recommend denial is to recommend an alternative. An alternative that would fit in with the surrounding area would be something like R1A, which is 75-foot wide lots, 7,500 square foot lots, or R1, which is 50-foot wide lots. I believe these are 50-foot, but we have to look at the whole picture. You have a lot of large lots over here. Those are large lots. I believe those are 75 feet wide. So that would be our job to provide an alternative if they were to want to approve it. And with that, we would have some alternative recommendations of conditions of approval to say that, there has to be like-to-like lots on this side. Like-to-like lots on this side, access only from Buck Road, make sure that they don't have access off of Arbor Ridge Trail. So those would be the kinds of things. So I just want to make you aware when the staff report comes out.
A wall or some type of boundary?
Well, a wall could be something, greater setbacks, buffers. Those are all things, and that's part of what this committee meeting is about, to kind of hear that side. Obviously, you don't want it, but if in the event this was approved, what would be the kinds of things that you would want to see? Buffers, walls, access.
Well, the main
wanna
thing
know
would
what
be
they're
for the
gonna do
water
with that.
drainage, sir.
What's
The
there?
main thing would be for the water drainage when it
Yeah.
does, because the
And it
properties
will
flood.
All you see right there is gonna have to go somewhere else, and it's gonna go on the neighbors all
You
around
ask
there.
questions, go ahead.
Yeah, so when you say denial, you recommend that they build bigger lots instead of
No,
smaller
so
lots?
we recommend denial. If the Planning and Zoning Commission recommends denial,
Yeah.
and the board then denies it, then it goes away until they apply again.
But you just said that you would have to recommend.
We can recommend an alternative.
Well, don't do that.
So no matter what, it has to be big lot, or small lots, multiple homes, or big lots, a little bit fewer homes, but
Well,
still have
that's our
traffic.
alternative, if they want to approve it. They could still deny it.
Okay,
So just because we're providing an alternative doesn't mean that they'll go with that, they could still deny it.
okay.
But at some level, this is upland area, and I'm just saying legally, it's upland area that has, if they can meet the compatibility measure and consistency with the comprehensive plan, something according to the comprehensive plan and the code should go here.
Okay, another question, please?
In the event that this is denied, each owner of these properties will be able to sell their properties, and then they can probably build 2 or 3 units instead of 58? Just a question.
Correct, yeah, so right now, the A2 every lot that's here, can get one home.
Yes.
Because it's currently inconsistent, right now, it's inconsistent with the future land use. So this lot could get one home because it's A2, that's it.
More questions, please?
Well, I own an acre and 2/3. The guy next door to me, on my left, on 2 acres. And, the people on the east, there was at one time 5 acres there.
Got 2 acres past that.
Yeah.
These are all like 2 acres, 5 acres?
Yeah.
Well, the box you have is a 5-acre chunk, probably not exactly, but then I'm 2 acres to the right of that. I'm under the B.
And everything on Claiborne's
Above.
2 acres and the side of it's 5.
And the only way them people gonna get out to go to work, back and forth is they gonna have to use Buck Road.
Well,
Claiborne's dead end.
Well, to get out, there's no, at the other end of Claiborne is the river. The only way to get out is Buck Road. And there's no lights on Buck Road except on the end at Rouse and Dean. There's no red light anywhere there. So it's maybe gonna be put a red light in of Claiborne.
So,
That'd be one place.
Yeah.
That'll be up to they'll have to, so unfortunately, we can't just put up a traffic light. They have to do an analysis. So it has to be warranted. There has to be so much traffic that comes from different angles to be able to warrant putting in a traffic light.
How do they get access to it?
At what point in the process will the transportation infrastructure go to be analysed
That's what I'm saying.
which is meant to be on
Because he's claiming.
Right. So Myrna, if you can help me with this,
Well, part of their application, they need to submit a traffic analysis for the county to review.
Oh, that's good, but what point in time do they have to submit it, since the next review is in about 2 weeks?
Yes.
So how do they get access?
Preliminary subdivision plan.
Yes.
Yes, so, you know, when the preliminary subdivision plan is submitted, which is the actual proposal to subdivide the properties into the individual lots, before we have that approved, we'll need to have these analyses figured out. That's when they'll be performed by the county.
So that's after
Yes,
the
ma'am.
approval?
Yes, ma'am.
Shouldn't it be before the approval?
Well, so
That's more logical.
the rezoning, and really the developer, when they do it this way, when they rezone a property just in R2, that doesn't give them any entitlement to actually do what we're proposing to do, other than that it allows lot sizes of a certain size. But to actually make it happen and to show that it's feasible, that's what the preliminary subdivision plan will do. And that's also a time when county can insist on additional requirements to sort of reduce the impact of the development, based on technical site conditions.
The last 2 questions, go ahead.
Yes, I think it's coming through loud and clear that those of us who live in these areas are not going to be served well with this rezoning. For the hearing that's supposed to take place, and many will not be able to make it because it's 9 o'clock, they have to go to work. We send in our comments, which I trust many of us will be faithful to do because we want our voice heard. My concern is, who is going to be representing our interest at that hearing? Because I worry about conflict of interest on our commissioners' parts. And I want to know that it's going to be more than just saying, oh, these concerns were listed, as opposed to presenting them, arguing in our favor.
Well, so the best route to go, and I know it's difficult, but the best route to go is to speak at this hearing. Everybody will get 2 or 3
But who
minutes.
represents our best interest? Because that's what our tax.
Well, each individual is best to represent themselves and
You
their
have to go
best
and
interest.
speak up yourself.
And there's no way to get that time changed to
Oh,
a
they're not
more
gonna
feasible time?
They're not gonna
It's
do
been
that.
this for
We've done this, they were trying to zone on our area.
That's like the perfect, that's the perfect.
One more question. Who else? Anybody else?
For that.
Final question.
That's wild.
Are the owners of these properties here today?
No, I've tried to get in contact with them for months now, and that's not possible, it seems like, so, and,
We just want them to
How do they
know
get
the
access
concerns
to
of the
that?
community
yeah,
as a result
yeah,
of
to the
either
properties.
To the developer?
Yeah, to the three parcels that you guys wanna combine into a 28
Mr.
parcel
Strickland
land.
has a road that goes off right in front of my driveway and access to it right beside the pond. That's,
Yeah.
he's got cars, he's got like 10 broke down cars parked in there now, so nobody can get in that.
Yeah.
Mr. Strickland does not.
You mean also Clayton?
Off Claiborne.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Strickland doesn't have anything in there like that.
In what?
What did you just describe?
Yeah,
they put 'em there today.
What?
What, the cars?
That's Mr. Strickland didn't do that.
What, the
Oh,
cars
that's
or
That's
the?
correct.
Huh?
That's correct.
The cars or the road, I'm sorry.
Mr. Strickland did not put cars
Oh, you
on
did?
an easement. No,
You
ma'am,
did?
I did not.
Oh, then how do you know?
Because I was just on that easement
Were
a
you
year
there
ago.
today? Because that's what they were doing
They're
today.
across
That's not
Today.
Mr. Strickland, I can assure you.
Oh, but it's on his land and easement, I'm sorry.
It's an easement, yes.
Yeah, it's on his easement. That's blocking with a whole bunch of junk down cars now.
And a tow truck.
And a tow truck. 'Cause I
Yeah,
live
right on the
across
way
from
here.
it.
Okay, where do you live?
Right across the street from it.
On Cleveland?
Yes.
I can tell you where those came from.
All right,
So we're gonna.
Thank you so much for coming. You have my information, you have contact with your commissioner and Bonilla. Please call us, email.
Can we not like
Come
you?
see what you guys go.
Sending you here?
Please, he has a favor to ask.
I'm the legislative aide.
So the raise a hand, can we see who's against this?
Pretty much sure the whole room.
Yep. All right, just wanted to show up.
Raise a hand.
Just the people that are here.
Tell Emily she owes you big. Need to buy you lunch or something.
My job.
Yeah, but still.
Remember to sign in.